Namaskar. Good afternoon. Today, we announce some relief measures. There are about 8 such measures being announced under the category of relief, 4 of which are absolutely new. There is one item which is specific to health infrastructure as the ninth. So, if 8 items were on economic relief, wherein I said 4 are new, the one item on health infrastructure is also new. There are 8 other items which pertain to growth in general, export, and also related to employees. And in that, 6 are totally new. So, with that very brief introduction, I go over to the first slide, which is a totally new item, and that pertains to 2 divisions, but both of which total to 1.1 lakh crore guarantee, which is being given for particularly COVID affected sectors. And in that, health sector with a 50,000 crore cover receives attention for scaling up medical infrastructure. Here, the focus is on 8 non-metropolitan, meaning other than 8 metropolitan cities, the health and medical infrastructure in all other areas, all other towns, tier 2, tier 3 will be focused. So we are not looking at the 8 metropolitan, we are looking at all others. Here the guarantee coverage will be for projects which are totally new, up to 75% coverage, and projects which are only expansion will get 50% coverage. The loan which will be given will be to a maximum amount of 100 crores. This guarantee will last for 3 years, and the interest rate for this health sector is about 7.5. It's capped at 7.95%. And if the focus within this is on aspirational districts, whether it is expansion or for new projects, 75% cover is being provided. And therefore, 7.95 being the interest cap, the top cap being given, considering that without this guarantee, you would have had to pay 10 to 11% interest. If this is for the health sector, we are also extending this to all other sectors, where 60,000 crores is being dedicated for the cover for that. But here the interest cap is at 8.25%. So all other details will be given out in the due course within a short span of time. But the other sector that we are talking about, like the way in which we did in the ECLGS, as we progress, we will evolve the needs. Depending on the needs which are coming out from the ground, we will keep changing that description and the coverage of the scheme. We now move to the additional 1.5 lakh crore for emergency credit guarantee scheme. You know, it was announced during the Atmanirbhar package announcements in May 2020. At that time, we had said it will be up to 3 lakh crores, of which 2.69 lakh crores have already been dispersed through the ECGLS 1, 2, and 3, in which, you know, first we covered the MSMEs, then we also included some other sectors, and the third one also brought in hospitality and others. And as a result of which, 2.69 crores have already been utilized. The rest will also be available for people to utilize it. Now we are enlarging the scope of the ECGLS itself, where it was up to 3 lakh crore. Now we are bringing in another 1.5 lakh crore under the emergency credit line guarantee scheme. Now here, sector-wise details will be given sooner based on the evolving needs. Uh, and the overall cap for admissible guarantee has been raised to 4.5 lakh crores. The next one is a totally new scheme. This is a credit guarantee scheme to facilitate loans through the MFIs, microfinance institutions. We aim to reach out to 25 lakh persons who are absolutely smallest borrowers from the MFI. And this would be a maximum loan of 1.25 lakhs to an individual. And the rate will be at least 2% below the maximum rate which is prescribed by the RBI. So the focus of this will be on new lending and not on repayment of old loans. Clearly, all kinds of stressed accounts can also benefit from it, and that is why we have mentioned that all defaulters also, so long as they are 89 days or less, meaning if the default is only within the 89 days, even they get covered, which means only the NPAs will not be covered, stressed will also be covered. Now, this entire scheme will be till 31st March 2020 or till such a time the 7,500 crores of guarantee which is getting issued is exhausted. Either this or that, whichever is the earliest. The guarantee which is being given is up to 75% of the default amount, and this duration is for 3 years. The loan duration is for 3 years. So we hope to cover 25 lakh, the smallest of small MFI clients, which means MFIs are normally widely spread in the hinterland, which is really the smallest towns, very small towns, and therefore we want to reach out to them, and that is best done through the MFI, and that is why we've taken this route. So there will obviously be a joint lending group kind of a framework wherein the NBFC, which has a link with them, the MFI, will all be in the loop. But that is how we expect to reach the smallest of small borrowers. They could borrow it for any one of the purposes for which they would like to take money from the MFI. We move over to the fourth of the 8 relief packages that I mentioned. This pertains, and this is a totally new thing. We are trying to help revive tourism. We are extending financial support to more than 11,000 registered tourist guides, travel and tourism stakeholders. So this is a totally new one, as I said earlier. The scheme will cover about 10,700 regional level tourist guides who are recognized by Ministry of Tourism and tourist guides who are recognized by state governments. Travel and tourism stakeholders, which is literally the terminology used to talk about travel agents, I suppose, who are recognized by Ministry of Tourism will also be covered here. What do they get? They get 100% guaranteed credit of 10 lakhs for the TTSs who are agents or travel agencies, and 1 lakh for tourist guides who are licensed either by the regional or the state level authorities. Now, what is this credit being given to? It's really a retail kind of a loan wherein they can take this credit for whatever purpose they would want to use it for, whether it is for buying a vehicle, whether it is for any other expenditure that they may want to have to incur. So there are no processing charges. The waiver, a complete waiver will be given for any foreclosures or prepayment, and this would be administered by the Tourism Ministry. And the fund for this, just to draw your attention, is also included in that first announcement that we made, that other sectors which get 60,000 crore guarantee, this will also be one of that. So this is to help revive or to help the tourist guides and tourist travel agencies survive the second wave. The next one also pertains to tourism sector. For the visas which are, once we start visa issuance again, the first 5 lakh tourist visas will be issued totally free of charge. This will benefit for any tourist only once. The scheme will be applicable till 31st March 2022 or till the first 5 lakh of visas get covered. In other words, till 31st March 2022 or till the first 5 lakh tourist visas are issued, everyone gets free tourist visa. Beyond that, of course, the usual regular charges will apply. So this, I think, will have a great incentivizing impact on those short-term tourists who come in for just with a 1 month visa. The next item relates to extension of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana. You would remember that in October last year, we had announced that to incentivize employers for creation of jobs or to restore the lost employment, which is registered under the EPFO, we had extended a scheme wherein we estimated about 58.50 lakh of beneficiaries would be taken in and they would get this benefit. And who are the beneficiaries? Those who draw a salary much lesser than 15,000 or lesser per month. And both in that case for such employers and employees, wherein the establishment had less than 1,000 employees, the total of 24% of wages will be paid by the government, meaning the employer share and the employee share. Whereas if the unit had more than 1,000 employees, again for all those who had 15,000 rupees per month salary, 12% of the wages, which is the employee's contribution alone, will be paid by the government. Now, as it is, since October till today, till not today so much, 18th of June, about 21.42 lakh beneficiaries have benefited, and they are spread around 79,577 establishments. So this scheme now, which was valid till 30th June 2021, which is in another few days it was to get over, we are extending the scheme till 31st March 2022. The seventh of the 8 announcements on the relief, economic relief, pertains to something which was announced probably just a couple of days ago, that an additional amount of 14,775 crores is being provided for nutrient-based subsidy for the farmers. In fact, some of you all in the media have covered that the record procurement of wheat has happened this Rabi marketing season. 432.48 lakh metric tons have been procured, which is compared to the previous Rabi marketing season, it was only 389.92 lakhs. This increase has happened even despite the pandemic. 85,413 crores have been directly paid into the farmers' accounts. 85,413 crores, and this is for the Rabi marketing season only. Now, the existing NBS subsidy is up to about 27,500 crores. We have now increased it to 42,275 crores, which means an addition of 14,775 crores have been provided. The breakup of that is available. We will share it with you. But the additional amount is 14,775 crores. I'm not announcing it for the first time today, but the money which is being released now, and that is 14,775 crores. The next one is just recalling something which the Prime Minister announced immediately after the lockdown was made last year, providing the poor with the food grains. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. Last year, the scheme was providing grains and some pulses between March to November. Just for the records, because the poor of India should not go without a meal even one day during this pandemic, was the objective with which the Prime Minister immediately announced this program. And therefore, just for the records, last year, this scheme was for 1,33,972 crores. Again this year, because of the second wave and because of the intensity with which the wave hit us, the Prime Minister thought that this year too, this scheme will have to be extended. And again, therefore, in May, this scheme was relaunched. Even then, it was clearly made as an announcement saying free food will be provided, food grains will be provided till November. This year, the estimated financial implication of the 5 kg food grains, which are being, in addition to their PDS entitlements, being given this year, of 5 kgs of food grains, will have a financial implication of 93,869 crores. Again, just for the records, the total financial implication of last year and this year is 2,27,841 crores. We now move to the announcement on health, with a special focus and emphasis on children and pediatric care, pediatric beds being provided. We are now providing 23,220 crores more, only sharply focusing on, among other things, but primarily focusing on children and pediatric care. This 23,220 crores will be spent in this financial year itself. It will also focus on funding of HR augmentation so that medical students, interns, nurses can also be, brought into helping in such emergencies. ICU beds will be made available. Oxygen supply at the central, district and sub-district levels will be ensured. And also making sure that equipments and medicines, teleconsultations, and ambulance services, all of that will be taken care of with a primary focus on children. So pediatric care is the emphasis here. Just to recall, last year, 15,000 crore emergency health systems project was brought in, which ended as of March 2021. Through that 15,000 crores, there was a 25-fold increase in COVID dedicated hospitals. We also set up 7,929 COVID health centers, 9,954 COVID care centers, and an increase in oxygen-supported beds by 7.5 times also was facilitated with the 15,000 crores. And there was an increase in isolation beds also by 42 times. There was increase again in ICU beds by 45-fold. So that we thought the 15,000 crores, which was used till March 2021, aiming at providing additional infrastructure and facilitating COVID care, had good response. And now 23,220 is being provided with a primary focus on children, but others also will benefit from it. We move to the third section, which focuses on growth, export and imports, and also on generation of employment. The first thing is, this government, as you know, is committed to doubling the farmers' income, and at the same time addressing the issue of malnutrition. Earlier, we've always focused on high-yielding varieties of seeds, so that the crops which are benefited from that high-yielding variety of seeds yields more. Whereas now the focus is making sure that the crop provides nutritious gains, the crop is going to be climate resilient, and also such traits which are important in a seed are being ensured through the research of the ICAR, Indian Council for Agricultural Research. They have now developed biofortified crop varieties, which, if given to the farmers, they are able to produce better quality output, and that might help in providing greater protein, iron, zinc, and vitamin A for nutrient value based grains, which are important for us. This is now being made available for several crops, 21 of them: rice, peas, millet, maize, soya bean, quinoa, buckwheat, winged beans, pigeon pea, and sorghum. All of them have been developed by the ICAR, and this will come of great help for the farmers. And end of the day, the grains that you get will be of nutrient value without having to add supplementary biofortification, which you do additionally. Now the grain itself yields such varieties. So this is being promoted, and this I'm making it as an announcement here because this is going to make an impact on farmers' income as much as giving us better grains. We next move over to a very critical institution for the Northeastern agricultural development. Again, aiming at farmers and farmers' income, the Northeastern Regional Agricultural Marketing Corporation, which is in short normally called as NERA-MAC. It was established in 82, but in spite of some good work, they've been suffering for want of support and assistance. As a result, Northeast farmers have had little access to good facilitation. This institution has established 75 farmer producer organizations already in the region, and it's also credited with having 13 GI crops registered for the GIs, receiving patents. Now, this institution is getting a 77.45 crore infusion as a revival package so that financial restructuring can be done, infusion of funds help them, and they can also prepare such business plans to give 10 to 15% more price to farmers by bypassing middlemen. Because of the location of the northeastern states, it is most often that the middlemen who reach them, and therefore they lose out on the price advantage, which they can otherwise have because their crops are normally organic and very good. Now, if this organization is revived, we expect that farmers would be better placed in terms of selling their produce. So we are reviving this corporation, Agricultural Marketing Corporation for the Northeast, with 77.45 crore as a package. The next one is for extending support to the National Export Insurance Account, which shall now give greater cover. It shall underwrite additionally to the extent of 33,000 crores for all project exports. You know, India's doing very well in terms of project exports. In most of the African countries and countries in the Middle East, Indian project exports are doing very well. They need a greater support through the insurance covers. The cover which is being credit cover, which is being provided by Exim Bank for project exports, will now additionally benefit for the next 5 years with this underwriting, which they can undertake for an additional 33,000 crores of project exports. So this is being given in order to immediately ramp up India's capacity to extend project exports and to give them enough cover. The next is also aimed at providing export insurance cover, and this time it is for merchandise exports. The previous one was for project exports. This is for merchandise exports, wherein a support of about 30% of the merchandise export can be given. We are infusing enough equity into the Export Credit Guarantee Corporation, which actually promotes exports by providing credit insurance services. This will now provide, this equity infusion from us will provide such leverage over the next 5 years for the ECGC to be able to provide insurance cover for up to 88,000 crores. So the equity infusion by the government will help them to be able to leverage it to the extent of providing coverage for 88,000 crores of merchandise exports. We move next to the Digital India, wherein you are aware that Honorable Prime Minister on 15th August Independence Day address in 2020 had mentioned that broadband connectivity will be available for all the Gram Panchayats in the next 1,000 days. There are a total of 250,000 Gram Panchayats in India. Of them, 156,223 have already received and they've become service ready by 1st May 2021, this year. So 156,223 Gram Panchayats are now service ready. So the rest have to be extended the same facility. Now, therefore, for that, an additional 19,041 crores is being provided, so that commitment that in 1,000 days from 2020, we will complete the entire broadband connectivity to villages. This additional is a totally new amount that I'm adding, which is 19,041. Therefore, the total outlay for this particular BharatNet project goes up to 61,109. Earlier, 42,068 crores have already been utilized for reaching that 156,223 Gram Panchayats. Now, with this additional 19,041 crores, we should be able to complete the rest. The next one is a new announcement, but with an extension provided. It's a PLI scheme for large-scale electronics manufacturing. You know, there was incentives which are being provided from 6% tapering down to 4% on incremental sales of goods. And this was to continue for 5 years. The incentives were to be applicable from 1st August 2020, keeping the base year as 1920. Now we have extended the tenure of the scheme from 2020-21 by 1 year to 25-26. Earlier, it would have ended up in 24-25. Now we have extended it by 1 more year, so 2025-26. And for those who had investments made even in 2021, they will also get counted in this, because we have given them the option of choosing any 5 years for meeting their production targets under the scheme. So it is open backwards in a way for those who have come in earlier into the scheme, and also continues for the next 5 years. So this is for large-scale electronics manufacturing. The companies which were not able to achieve the targets within the given time had very many legitimate reasons, and therefore the extension has come in. The reasons are given in the explanatory notes with which you will get the press release. The next one is about the budget announcement, but because we are executing now, I would like to bring in the picture. This is about revamping the reforms-based power sector, result-linked power distribution scheme for financial assistance to DISCOMs. It will help in infrastructure creation and upgradation of systems. We expect to have smart meters, 25 crores of them to be brought in, 10,000 feeders, 4 lakh kilometers of LT overhead, and therefore it is one of the major reforms where state-specific intervention is being planned, and there will not be a one-size-fits-all. The total allocation for this is 3,03,058, of which the central share is 97,631 crores. You remember that during the last year's Atmanirbhar announcements, we had also made states wanting to borrow more were given that little nudge and incentive, saying you may borrow additionally for 4 years up to 0.5% of the gross state domestic product, GSDP, subject to carrying out certain specific power sector reforms. This is part of it, but now the scheme gets included because of ongoing work which is undertaken by IPDS, DDUGY, Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Gram, DDGJY. I'm unable to explain it in full. The expanse, Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Grama Jyoti Yojana, that's right, and Saubhagya Yojana. So this is one of the major steps, and the amount which is being announced is also big. I come to the last, after which you will have the financial statement as always, which is customary now. So the last announcement is about a new streamlined process of PPP, projects and asset monetization. You know, the current process was long and it involved multiple levels of approval for the PPP. So now we are coming up with a new policy which is formulated for appraisal and approval for proposals and monetization of core infrastructure, including those which are through InvITs. So the aim is to have a speedy clearance of projects so that the private sector's efficiencies are brought in. And this is something which will help in the budget proposal that we'll move ahead with asset monetization. And therefore, with the policy base that is being provided now, we expect to quickly go on a very clearly stated objective.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.